Time to rip and tear some flesh with the Flesh Tear Amit of the Blood Angels, deck list, and play games today. What up, everybody? Scuff D here, and today we're going to be doing ourselves a little deck list playthrough with Nassir Amit of the Blood Angels. So let's get into it. Let's hop to the Blood Angels, if we shall. Let me get the video out of here so we can get into the deck list, show the cards. So Nassir Amit, I had this deck list I've been waiting to do an Amit video, and I've been kind of sidelined doing some of the stuff through the month, real life stuff, podcast stuff, channel stuff, trying to set up the Twitch, enjoying other things. We don't need to get into that. I had this list in mind way back when Amit was an option, when we were battling between Nassir Amit and Ascalon. Right, we had Ascalon, who has the ability to do frontline, give some protection, has some draw in there, and has a way to protect troops for landing purposes. Very nice. Like playing Ascalon. Amit is much more straightforward. Requiem, he's a Requiem warlord. He's got Berserk. He's got this ability. Pay 2 to deal 2 to a random enemy. Seems kind of generic, but his Requiem to deal 1 damage to another random unit, which can be friendly units. Seems a little reckless. And then he's got Berserk, and that seems kind of forced. But the Blood Angels cards kind of fuel that. And I was really excited to do that. We didn't get Amit, we got Ascalon, which is fine. Either which way was going to work. And then we got Galaxy and Flames. And we got a lot of new tools to go further with Amit. So he's got Requiem. He's got the deal 1 damage to another random unit. That's very important. I think you'll see through the playthroughs here. So I'm going to play a game, show a game, and then get into the deck list to kind of explain my take on the card pool and the card selection, because I think that's important to know. You can play Amit a couple different ways. I don't think there's anything wrong there. He's got the strengths of the Blood Angels card pool, but there's a reason why I include certain cards in my list. So, okay, we'll start with the Blood Angels versus Space Wolves, right? Because that's happening. We're getting Space Wolves more and more frequently, right? I've had a couple Space Wolf games so far. I've had a lot more games against Sevitars, Night Lords, Kurz, Skravok. They all end the same way, which is Amit on top, which is nice. It's another option. I think I've got... Not sure if I've got a Night Lords replay pinned to show. So this counterattack, it seems like a waste when you play it out first, right? It's not entirely. You don't want to play it right away unless you've got a Harem Squad or you have nothing else in hand. But because the way it lines up next to the Warlord on both sides of him, if your opponent gets rid of 1, at the very least, they're still going to take 1 damage. Because the ping from the 1 troop will kill the other troop, and then Amit's Requiem will then hit the Warlords still for 1. So that's 2 if they trade in, if they don't use an attack, like if they don't have a target ability, they're taking 2. If they don't, if the ping hits them, then you're getting an extra boost for that, and then you're just going right in. More pings. And the whole point of this is managing pings. The entire point of the deck that I've got here is really kind of minimizing your tools to do the most damage to face as possible, minimize your pings, and have the pings go where you want them to go as much as possible. So we're up by 4. He's got a nice little survivor ward. It's to be expected. If I don't have to attack, I try not to. I'll use the ability. It's random, but I'm going to hit 2 for something, and I don't have to trade if I don't want to. Now, one thing with his Berserk is you do want to keep that in mind when you're playing. You want to play a little wisely. You want to play a little wisely when it comes to that, in terms of like, okay, where are we going from here? Like, do I play this 5 now? I'm going to have to face strike, but because I know where that 5 is going, then that's fine. I don't mind face striking because I'm going to face. That's what I want. It's a little bit of a top deck luck, but there's a lot of flanking in there. All right, I take 1, kill his 1. He's just gonna sit, try to get those back, and then I think he kind of makes a tactical error in playing like that. That's his call to make, but that's okay. That's all right, because we've got enough health. So really what we're trying to do here is minimize the pings, because I don't want him to pack up his pack. I don't want his attack to raise, and we'll just do what we can, and we can follow this up next turn, do 4 damage, heal some, and then he makes another mistake here. I think he had the high ground, is raising his attack some. If he would not have attacked here, he would have had some other options, but he went for it, and that cost him, because I'm going to kill it, and then I'm going to kill him too. If I didn't have that, I could have gone with the Sanguinary Guard. Could have dropped the Erlam Veterans possibly for a ping and a flank, or I could have just attacked and prayed. But ultimately, that Crimson Spectre is nice. The Blood Angels cards are nice. That's really what we got to say here. So we're going to take a look at the deck. And as you can see, I've got a lot of Blood Angels cards in the deck. There are a couple of neutrals in there for a few reasons, but mostly Blood Angels and Blood Angels flanking troops. So Drakius, it's a flank or it's a fast, either which way. So your opponent is either going to take 3, 2 from Drakius, 1 from Amit if they just have their warlord, or you can use Drakius to deal 2 to a troop, maybe 3 to a troop, and go from there. Then as far as that gets even more damage with Harem Squad. The reason I've got Harem Squad in here is because they're low cost and they're cheap, and they can still do Requiem 2 damage ping. For 3 energy, I can drop a Drakius, flank that or fast that into the enemy warlord. The enemy warlord then takes either 3 or 2, but then they'll also take 2 from the Harem Squad. In addition to that, the Harem Squad is sitting next to my warlord, and my opponent doesn't want that to sit. Late game, if I have more energy, I can do this more frequently. I can take a single Harem Squad and 2 Drakius squads, or Harem Squad and a Goldstone Hunters, which have, a conditional fast if I'm putting down the Harem Squad. It's all about combos. It's all about comboing and using those tools as much as possible. So Harem Squad is kind of, I don't want to say an MVP, but it's a very crucial tool in the way I've got this set up. I also have got Flanking Cleave. Balls Fire doesn't seem like a whole lot. It's a vehicle. It's not in the Astartes, but it's Flank and it's Cleave 1. That Cleave 1 can be very handy against stealth troops, against Jaegers, anything that's got 1 health, or at the very least cleaving into the Warlord, which is nice. Foresight. Giving Nassir Amit precognition for 1 turn in some games is super important. Plus it gives them Survivor 1, which is nice, but it basically can help give you that 1 turn that you need. Anybody who's played White Scars and has used quick reflexes can attest to the power of having precognition on your warlord in a pinch. Prophecy Revealed is good anti-stealth. This is just a good anti-stealth card to have, or at least one of. Bane of Demons I've got in here for the damage. The Stunning Demons, that's nice. That's an added feature, but I've got a lot of damage. The whole point of this is damage, damage, damage. It's not tricky. I'm not trying to maximize Requiem. I'm not trying to do a mission. The mission would be nice, but you'd have to rebuild this entire thing differently because there's not enough Requiem troops to really make it go. Jubok Starsight and Kai'Zalane honestly are the only troops I've got in here that sit. The entire concept of Nassir Amit is I want to limit the number of my troops that I have on the board. That's why everything I have either has flanking or is a very low health and is going to die with a flank attack or with a face attack. The Lord Squad is probably one of my highest cost things, as well as the Sanguinary Guard. But again, they have flanks, so they serve a purpose, and then they draw fire. They become a tactic, and then when they get killed, they're still going to deal 1 damage. Nassir Amit is going to deal 1 damage somewhere. So that's why I don't have any troops that sit. That's why I don't have Furvius Command. Because I don't want to damage I don't want the pings to go to my stuff if I can help it. Furvius Command is a great card, giving flank with drop pod stuff. I don't have a lot of drop pod troops in here. The only drop pod troop I really have, quite frankly, besides the host of angels, is the Medidas squad, which is really a target. It's just to buy time, and then it becomes a 4/3. I don't care if I get an extra copy of it or not. That's not my intent. My intent is to draw your attacks away from my warlord and hit you for 4, maybe 5 if I ping it, maybe more if I throw down a harem on top of that. Talked about Goldstone Hunters a little bit, but Kai and Jubak are just helpful with card advantage, giving you options. And guess what? If they die, and they will, that's a ping that's going somewhere. So it's fine. I'm fine having them out there. They won't last long, but when they do, they'll give me something. And if they don't, they'll still do work. Heirloom Veterans, this is a wonderful new card from the Galaxy in Flames. I really like it. First off, it deals damage. That's really nice in a pinch late game, whether it's warlord or troop. But then also you can use it as a deal damage and gain flank, which then again ties into the Nassir Amit strategy. Flank him into the troop, kill the troop, ping the warlord. Moonsilver Blade. Now, I had initially in my deck, I've changed a couple cards when I first drafted it with the new Galaxy and Flame cards. I tried a few things out. I had the Blade in Carmine, and then I had one Moonsilver Blade, and that actually was kind of cool because it could let me hit, like if I had the Blade in Carmine equipped, then I could play Moonsilver Blade and then bust out, an 8 attack damage. That's cool, but Nassir Amit wants to play a little bit more cagey, and if I've got the Blade in Carmine on my troop, and I play a high cost card, then I have to attack twice, and I don't always want to do that. So I got rid of Blade and Carmine outright, and I played Moonsilver Blade. Moonsilver Blade still gives me a +2 attack, which lasts until my next turn. This is very helpful against Night Lords right now, because Night Lords love to lower your attack. Go ahead, lower my attack. My attack is still 2. Or my attack is 1, unless you're dropping like multiple things to lower my attack. So that's really handy. That's a handy pinch. Plus, it draws a card. Drawing cards with Amit, it's a feast or famine deck, man. We're gonna hit them hard. We're gonna do a lot of damage, and we're gonna win, or we're not gonna get what we need, and it's gonna peter out. That happens with a lot of decks in general. But if you can minimize that by having draw potential on here, you've got draw, you've got Jubak making cards, you've got Kai Zalay making cards, you've got Prophecy Revealed drawing you cards. You also have, I'm going to skip over here to Airlifted Reserves because I wanted to try this card out from Galaxy and Flames, and I believe, honestly, it's only useful for Amit. I would like to say this is useful for Meros too because it triggers when a friendly unit triggers Requiem, but Meros is more about like he's going to accidentally keep things alive so he won't trigger Requiem as quickly, and he's using different cards, whereas this is great. Like if you get this in your opening hand, keep this in your opening hand, because if you're going second, you're going to get your counterattack, which means that this card base costs 5. And let's just say you have a Drakius and a Harem squad. Well, if you put that between Amit and the Harem squad, you're actually triggering Requiem twice, which then can lower your airlifted reserves by 2. So this could become 3 at turn 2. That's really cool, and then obviously you can get to a 0-cost card. Very similar with Spear of Telesto in that regard, because you're killing your Astartes. Your Astartes are dying. It's just a good hard removal. There's nothing wrong with that. And the fact that both of those can cost less makes it easier to combo late game. Play 3 cards or draw 3 cards for 0, and then you draw some of these combo guys. You draw a Harem squad, you draw a Drakius, or you draw Goldstone Hunters. Then you can still use Nassir's ability maybe instead of actually attacking with his ability. It's just really nice. Same thing with Spear of Telesto. Spear of Telesto, you play it for 2 energy. You can play 2 troops and Spear of Telesto end of game to clear front line or something important. I've got Shock Assault in here for straight 4 damage. The giving troops +1/+1, I've never used it. Typically, I'm just using this to either kill a threat that I do not want to face strike or on the enemy warlord. Don't throw it away willy-nilly, but 4 for 4, never a bad thing. Lurator Squad, again, this is a good flanker that's going to clear higher threats, higher health threats, and then Sanguinary Guard, Crimson Spectre. I passed on some staples. I passed on some things. I didn't do the mission. Like I said, if you're doing the mission, you're going to do it completely different. I didn't do Angel's Tears. I know people are thinking, oh, why wouldn't you do Angel's Tears? Angel's Tears after Host of Angels is so good. Yes, he can ping for 3, and he's a 4 or 5 body for 5. That's nice, but you got to get to Host of Angels. You got to play that, and this deck is not designed to kind of draw out. This deck is to go ham, and for 5 energy, I can play Harem Squad. I can play a Goldstone Hunters, which is going to do 5 damage for 2 cards that I should have in hand, plus the additional 1 to 2 damage from Amit himself. And I'm not relying on a 7 energy play Host of Angels sticking at all. Angel's Tears is great when things stick or when you've got things in hand, but I want to hit them hard and hit them fast earlier out the gate. As I mentioned, I'm not playing Furvious Command, I'm not playing Blade and Carmen, I'm not playing a whole lot of drop pod troops. That's not my intention. My intention is to go hard, go home. I'm not playing Crimson Paladins or Venerable Jovial because at that stage in the game, I want to play lots of little pieces and have the option to use Amit's ability if necessary versus playing a 8-drop or 9-drop and then having to attack something that like a large front line or a shielded unit or a warlord with like 3 or 4 health or 3 or 4 attacks. So that's my thought process on the card selection. This is not how every deck needs to look, but this is the deck I've been enjoying and I've been having a good time. Like I said, I've only changed a couple cards. I took out a few things, swapped some things out here. Very Blood Angels-y. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. A lot of different games. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more, and then I'll mention some other cards that you could consider, as well as some of the weaknesses of the deck. Okay. You know what? Some people are talking about the Blood Angels, or not the Blood Angels, the Space Wolves, and the Ultramarines mission, Raven Guard. Raven Guard, having his ability to be random, which is nice because you can use that on a warlord who's stealth or stealth troops potentially. But I haven't encountered too many Raven Guard right now, and not just because it's in practice, because I've encountered a lot of other things. I think people are on the Night Lord's kick, or at least where I'm at. I'm at 3,100 currently, so that's possible. If I go a little bit higher, I'll run into more things like Knights or Raven Guard more frequently, but that's not to say they don't exist. They do. They do exist, just not frequently enough for me, and that's fine. This deck will get you beyond 3,100, I guarantee it. If you're looking to play competitively, you can play this deck, and then you can tweak a couple cards based on more encounters that you get. I guarantee you can get this deck to 37 plus. It might take some more games this late in the season, but it's a good deck. It's really fun. So he's not getting too many cards, which is surprising. He's playing Mission. He's using his ability not at all. I think he's just been relying on playing troops that he thinks that I can't get rid of. Spoiler alert, he is going to get his mission this game. And then second spoiler alert, it's not going to matter. But that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that. So here we're using a flanker. We're just trying to get rid of that 5-3. The ping does its work. And then I can just hit the 2. It's all about control, but all about minimizing your ping targets. And then using the ability of Amit as much as possible. This is the first time I think that he actually uses his ability to pump. I'm surprised he's not using his ability to draw at all. But that is his loss. That's his loss, applesauce. And I'm gonna hold on to the tricky cards here because I think I really want to make this target work. Like he's got a lot of options. And yeah, like I said, Kai doesn't last long. At the very least, he's still going to ping for 1. And it really makes your opponent think sometimes like, oh, do I want to kill things? Do I want to... If I don't... Like I like a couple of Luthers I played. they made the mistake of killing my stuff and then like not using all their Jaegers right away. So then the Requiem actually hits the Jaegers that haven't acted yet. So they actually lose Jaegers before they get a maximize on it. It's pretty nice. Pretty cool. So yeah, so he's got the mission here. He's got a board full of Ultramarines. Still lacking cards. I'm surprised he didn't draw up, but he was intent on not having as many 4/3s. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you got here, because I'm gonna time my Requiems, make them work for me, and we'll go from there. Yeah. And knowing that, it's like, okay, you got rid of one host of angels, and it's a Blood Angels. That's why the Blood Angels cards are in there. They work really well together. They do what they do. Blood Angels do what they do. But how do you play them to make them help Amit do the most that he can do? That's really where it comes into it. And he's up here. He's up 13 health. He's in a sitting pretty spot. The problem is he's really relying on top deck draws. He's got nothing. He's not using his ability to draw anything. He hasn't used his ability to increase the health of his troops at all. I think he's running completely on that concept that he doesn't have to, and that's not a good idea. So we'll go in. We'll lose that, it's okay, because then our airlifted reserves is dropping down like nothing. And why not? Let's draw 3 cards. Let's get some more pieces for a combo. Combo. And that's a target worthy of a spear, I feel. You know, that's a good spearable target. Why not? Let's make it hard for him. He's still up 8. He could still heal. The Ultramarines have got the resilience. I don't know. He's just either isn't drawing up what he needs, or he's just not playing clean here. This doesn't matter. This matters not to me. The ability to have this burst from hand. Here we go. Let's do it. Do it to it. We get double Requiems, so that one's going to hit my troops. This is why I don't like to have too many things on the board, because I'd like to minimize where those things go. But then we can just really go into it. Yeah, let's heal. Let's kill. Let's wipe the board. Drop his attack by 1. Heal up. I don't have to worry about face striking. I'm going to leave this on here so he has to deal with it, which he does. Again, doesn't matter. He's going to take the ping for 1. And this is where foresight comes in handy. And these moments here where I'm like, I got you down to 12. You might heal for 7. But I can do more than 7 here. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to hold off. I think I should have face strike him here. I think I used my ability instead, but I really should have, I think, just hit him for the face to keep that window small. But that eliminates him from being able to hit me with everything. He's got to use energy. And that's game, because I'm going to play this. Boom, boom, boom. That's 6. That's 8 damage from my warlord attacking 2. He didn't play any front lines at all. Looking good. Sorry, Gage. And yeah, we can throw down the Moon Silver Blade as well, and do the work. But we're not. I think we want to have the Goldstone, because Moon Silver Blade would be 1 health too many unless the ping hit. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Okay, let's take a look at one more here. All right, so we got ourselves a Camba Diaz. Sure, let's keep all that. Crimson Spectre could be handy against a board state. Now, I wasn't sure why he did that. And I wasn't going to use my beta demons. But I feel like if I can do this and get the board off early, I've got the Harem Squad here. I've got a Jubok for the next turn. Goldstone Hunters, if I choose to go that route, I feel like that's a good play. And in fact, he does. He does exactly nothing. So I'll take it. Let's go in there and let's minimize the amount of ping targets for both my Requiem as well as Harems. And we're going to sit. We're going to make him think about doing with that again. Guess what? It happens again, guys. This time, I'm going to do the Jubak. Like, let's just really go into it. If you're not going to do action, we'll make it work. We'll force you. Love that premium card back. That's nice. So he goes all in. He goes with this guy. I'm not sure why he left this. Because that's a bad choice. Just like, I'll take one, and maybe take two, but he took two anyways, and now he's going to take a lot more. Another two, and then I can use Amit's ability here. We've got a lot of flank. We've got cleave action. We've got some damage when we need to. We're up by 9. But he hasn't played Stalwart Defenders yet. He hasn't really busted out a whole lot of stuff. So there is that. And then he does this. So that's a thing. And again, I'm just minimizing what's on the board. Requiem goes exactly where I want to. That's a little lucky, but that's fine. One card takes care of 2 cards. I like that. It's a little bit of a combo, but don't let those Harem Squads sit. Don't. He's going to have to eat it. He eats the 2 and then he eats the 1. Maybe that's why he didn't go into it initially, because he didn't want to. But, yeah. Yep, and then we'll just do this. I think we'll keep on to that for a turn. We've got 8 damage right there. I think at this point he's really getting desperate. He knows the end times are coming. Maybe if I just throw out some front line and protect that, he'll be stunned. That is always a gamble when you're dealing with the Crimson Spectre and the Blood Angels. 4 health stuff. This game could have been mildly different if he would have got like a Stalwart Defenders off early, but I think his play didn't help a whole lot either. And I had options to deal with what I need to. So I'm not too concerned with that. And that's going to be game either which way. I can play those straight from hand, which I believe I do. So that's the idea. Damage, damage, damage. Go face. Surprise. That's how you win games. That's how you win in this game. You don't win the game any other way. You've got to damage the enemy warlord. But minimizing where your pings can go, using the flanking as much as possible, but making sure you play as few troops on the board as necessary to make that work. Save your stuff for the combos. The Harem Squad combo requires like 1 extra piece than the Angel's Tears, but if you've got several of them, you can actually do way more damage than the Angel's Tears can, and you can you're not banking on basically Host of Angels. Host of Angels sticking or not is nice, as in any Blood Angels game, but it's not really what's doing the work. All the way up until 7 energy, Amit is making work with the low health troops very effectively. So, if you want to play a mission, Amit, which is not bad. The reward for this is really cool. Survivor 5 and then double Requiem for all your units. That's cool, but then you'd have to put in more Requiem troops. You would just have to take out some of these flanker guys that don't have Requiem. Like Balls Fire could go. Medita Squad, consider keeping that, but then you'd want to put in like Sergeant Arvin. Furvius Command for sure would go in at that point. If you're doing that, then at that point, you're probably going to want to put in Alii Janus, Angel's Tears, your standard array. Then it becomes a standard Blood Angels deck with the mission in there. Maybe have another. Oh, I want to say Furioso. These guys are a low cost unit that can gain some Requiem too. That's if you want to do that. What you do need to be aware of, though, is when you're facing a warlord or an enemy who's got a lot of frontline stuff, then you've got to know what to save your flanking for, and know when to hit them as hard as possible to the face, because if they don't have frontline down, that's when you need to do damage. Amit is not one that you want to sit back. Comboing is nice, but you need to have your opponent down to a low health amount before you actually, initiate the combo. So if you're sitting back, not doing anything for 8 turns, you're not going to be able to win. You've got to press right from the get-go and use the tools you've got to make sure that you keep the window tight. High cost, like I said, high health front lines hurt. It's kind of nice not having too many troops on the board, so you don't have to worry about Ornitov's barge high rolling on you. But troops with Survivor are also kind of a pain, because either they've got the Survivor extra health to avoid the pings from the Requiem from Amit, or they're just melee enough where your flankers can't quite remove them on their own. That gets to be a little tricky. I've won a couple games against Vulcan. I haven't had too many games against Rystan, but Rystan also has the ability to just throw up a front line, so that's why you're unstoppable. Goldstone Hunters and your Sanguinary Guard, your Lord Raider squad, those guys come in handy a little bit more so, and then you've got to just really rely on Amit's ability. Amit's ability being random is nice when it's, dealing with the stealth or precog troop, but there are some times when your opponent throws down like 5 or 6 troops where it's like, well, it's not something you can really rely on. So you've got to have ways to clear that, which is what the flanking is typically for. That's one reason why I've got the Heirloom veterans in here. Theoretically, these guys are at least 2 clears, maybe 3 if a ping goes where I want to go from Requiem. Very handy tool. Other cards, if you want to switch it out, you could probably throw in. I'm thinking as far as other troops, not necessarily troops, because the more troops that you're relying on to be down, again, that kind of dilutes Amit's ping potential. But if you want to deal with sacrifices, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Like if you had Amit throwing in some Chaos Sorcerers, because if they get pinged and die on your turn, guess what? You still get that sacrifice. You still get a Lesser Demon on top of that. So that's something to think about. You could also throw in. Trying to think here. Like, I don't want to say Melgator. Like, Melgator's an option, but he doesn't do anything else beyond that. And you really need to push for damage. Sabotage is not a bad tool. That is always a good card. It's always one to consider. I wouldn't put Crucial Choice. I actually do not have Crucial Choice in this deck for the speed. If I get it at 3 and I play it at 3, I could be playing a troop at 3, which is going to push bodies, whereas Crucial Choice is going to give me a tactic that I may or may not even be able to play effectively, or have to play like 7 or 8 energy. Not worth it for this deck. That is a different style of deck. Last Rifle Section's not a bad option. Doesn't give you flank, but it does give you a little bit of pinging. You could also go with Crumbling Battleground. This is a little different, but this is resolution, deal 1 damage to all other units. So if you throw down your counterattack with Crumbling Battleground, then you're dealing, you're killing those 2 off. Those 2 are pinging. Crumbling Battleground's pinging. It's a little different play, but it is a way to do it. You could also double down on the burn strategy. Get rid of like a Medidas squad or even a Moonsilver Blade and just go with a Mortar Strike. That's not a bad card to have in there. You could throw in Nero Sukasin instead of Jubak. That's a good card to throw in as an option. Manifest Destiny, very good to have. Healing in general, I had a couple cards in here for healing. I just took them out and put in the foresight. But if you don't have foresight and you do have manifest destiny, or you don't have those and you have Pi Alpha 52, I would recommend that. Why Pi Alpha 52? Because he's a troop. And if he gets killed, guess what? He's a Requiem. Requiem for your Amit, Requiem for your Harem squad. Either which way, that's better than the tactic. So that's why I recommend that. And I'm scrolling fast, but I really think that's kind of, you don't want to have super long stand. Like Malkiel seems like a good, like, oh, throw him in there. No, because if I ping too much, I'm going to ping Malkiel. I don't want Malkiel's to take targets. Kai, like I said, Kai Zalain and Jubak are the exceptions to the rule because they can actually be easily dispatched of. Malkiel's a little bit harder to get dispatched of sometimes, and I don't want that. I want them to be easy to dispatch. I want my opponent to make the choice to get rid of those things, so then they realize, like, oh, I made a mistake. I would not play Emperor's Wrath. Emperor's Wrath seems like a good idea for a beginner, maybe, because you're like, oh, you've got Erlen Vets, you've got, no, because if you play Emperor's Wrath, then you're not getting the rally potential of Drakia's squad. It's an Astartes, but it only gains fast on the rally. Otherwise, it's just a flank and draw pod. So pass on that. Don't do that. Be a little smart with how you're playing there. You could also throw down Ornitov's Barge in a pinch if you really feel like you need to, or if you're running into extra stealth, throw in a second Prophecy Revealed. It's better than Informant Network for the Blood Angels. It's a Blood Angels card. Or Angel's Wrath, another way to stun and deal 2 to adjacent targets. I mean, they've got options. But I would really stick away from the drop pod build, at least for me. That's the way I like the pressure. I like to put the pace on, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. And hopefully you will too. There's no wrong way to build it, but there are some cards that just work better if your idea is to play the low cost stuff. Man, this is low curve. I've got 5 cards above 7 energy, and they're all, Spear and Airlifted can actually be as low as 0, so they don't count. Host of Angels gives you multiple cards. Sanguinary Guard and Crimson Spectre clear things. That's it. Everything else plays from hand to deal damage, either stick around or do an extra ping. I don't know what else to say. That's what it is. It's fun. Guess what? Have fun. He's a Blood Angel and he's wearing red armor. You know how many Warlords of Blood Angels we have with red armor? 3. And Ascalon's got the gold. Sanguinius has got the gold. Meros, you see anybody playing Meros? You don't. You just see Raldoron. Guess what? Time to pick up Amit. He's fun. He really is. He's cool. Feed your inner World Eater without stooping to play World Eaters. That's what I have to say. You want to play Karn? Get out of here. Karn's easy. Karn's cakewalk for Amit. No, play Amit and tear some flesh. Rip and tear. Get in there. All right, guys. That's it for me. Hope you enjoyed this. I've got some card by cards coming up. I really want to do a deck list because, like I said, I've been having fun with him for a while, and I've kind of sidetracked, and I'm happy to share this. And I hope you enjoy it. And until next time, keep playing Legions. Bye.